Good morning. Today is time for some real talk with Stanley. I am sharing this story honestly because I heard someone else's story and it really helped me a lot. And I really feel like it's an important conversation to have. I know that it's a lot of stigma still around mental health issues, and I really find that heartbreaking because it makes it a lot harder to reach out for help. But I know I would not be where I am today if I hadn't reached out for help and used the tools in my tool belt. And the first time I really got sick, I had no idea where to turn. Thankfully, I had really supportive parents, and I did end up in a really challenging program at first, but I know that it was my path and my story that got me better, and it was years of recovery. So the first time I ever got diagnosed with bipolar disorder was in 2010. I had just returned to school from summer break. This was going to be my first year without my horses with me. I was leaving my horses at home with my parents, which I found very stressful. I had two horses at the time that were competition horses, and I had Eminem, who is my always stays home. He never went to college with me. I think he did one half semester at a barn near there doing a lesson program, and he did not fit in, so he came home, and he spent most of college at home, either at friends' houses or with my parents. But so my parents had three horses that they were caring for, and I was really stressing about leaving them with my horses. I got down to school and I actually forgot my badge, or like my college ID, so I couldn't get food. It had been almost 12 hours since I'd eaten, and I had tailgated into my dorm, and I was in my room, and I went into an elevator that was attached to an academic building on one side and attached to my dorm on the other, and the card was not working because I didn't have it. I couldn't get into the academic building because the academic building was closed, and I couldn't get back into my dorm because the dorm was closed. And this was right around the time where the school that I went to went from internet phone lines to telephone phone lines, and they had not changed that elevator for the alarm button to work. So I ended up stuck in that elevator from probably, I think I went in around 9 o'clock in the evening, and I didn't come out until like 4 o'clock in the morning. I came out on the academic building side when a janitor opened the elevator doors and walked out, and I'm completely dazed and confused at this point. And I wander out onto campus, and I'm literally walking around campus talking to myself, and the police start following me, understandably so. And they actually take me to the local hospital, where I was, do not believe I was TDO'd yet, but I might have been. And a TDO is a temporary detainment order. When we got there, they did call my parents, or I called my parents. Someone called my parents. I talked to them for a little bit. It did not comfort me very much. I was making really loose connections. I was really far out there at this point. And I ended up in a holding facility when they opened up. It was some sort of mental health facility. I was much more stable when I was being held there, when I was being held at the ER. But the transfer from that mental health stability place to the hospital, because I was being hospital, at this point I have been TDO'd. I was given a car ride, police car, were taking me to the hospital, and I actually was so scared that the police were bad policemen, which at the time I now realize they were fantastic. I actually got really close with some of the officers that helped me in this program, but I thought they were trying to kill me. I thought they were trying to sell me into the sex trade. So my dad is there at this point. I can't talk to him because he's far away. And they're transferring me from one vehicle to another, and I'm handcuffed in the back of a cop car, and I actually kicked out the back of that cop car window because I was so scared, and I'm screaming at the top of my lungs, I need a gun, which I'm sure is terrifying for the policemen that are handling me. And I obviously just wrecked a window, so they're not very happy with me. But I mean, they did a great job. They totally jumped into action. They got me into another car very quickly because there was broken glass everywhere. And at this point, I was handcuffed and my feet were handcuffed to the bench. Hi, Stanley. And then I got transferred to a mental health facility in Petersburg, Virginia, where I was walking through that. I remember this very distinctly. I was walking through to where I was going to be staying, and there were people on phones, and I thought that they were bidding on me because I was being sold into sex trafficking, and it was freaking terrifying. I was immediately given a shot of Haldol, which just knocks you out, because at that point I hadn't slept for almost 24 hours. And I, maybe more than that, I think it was closer to 48 hours. It was quite a while. But I proceeded to do, I think it was 2 weeks at that facility, inpatient in Poplar Springs. I don't remember a lot of that treatment. One thing I really distinctly remember was being in the gym. We went to the gym one day and I got to run around, and I was manic at this point. So like burning off that excess energy was crucial. It was like the first time I started to feel like myself the whole time I was there. And then I got discharged from that facility into a partial hospitalization program up at Inova, which my parents came and picked me up and were able to transfer me to that program. Sorry, my alarm went off to eat. I did about, how many days? After I was discharged from my first hospitalization, I went up to a partial hospitalization program, and I was about to be discharged from that hospitalization program, the partial hospitalization program, which is really intensive therapy. Your full-time job is getting better. I was getting ready to be discharged, and I had a really bad relapse. I thought my neighbors were spying on me. They were just walking around in their yards with flashlights. It was a total normal thing to do in the country. And I had to go back into a fully hospitalized program. Then I was hospitalized. That time I wasn't TDO'd at first, but about 12 hours into that, I got TDO'd again because I wanted to leave, and the doctors were like, you can't leave. Because I went in voluntarily, but I thought I disagreed with the treatment, which when you're very sick, you don't usually agree with the treatment. And then I went to a partial hospitalization program after a much better hospitalization program. And I was able to finally be discharged, but I was far from getting better. I spent the next 6 months at home with my family and my horses, getting better. And then finally, the next spring, I went back to school. I don't think I was ever fully recovered from this. It's something that took a very long time to get back to the point where I was stable. And it probably took 2 years for me to get back to the point of what most people would consider stable. I have had flare-ups since then, but nothing ever as intense. I have a really good support system. I have a lot of people that look out for me, and I do the work. It involves a lot of journaling, a lot of self-observation, but also when someone tells me I'm acting weird, I usually have to listen to them, even if I think they don't see what I see. They don't believe in me. I usually have to take the time to slow down and care for myself. All right, well, Stanley's ready to get his day started, so I think this story is over, but I hope this helps some of you.